Good evening. Welcome to the Pmbc meeting of December 13th, 2023. I'm going to share my screen and go through the agenda. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the first order of business is the warrant.
Uh-oh.
We lose you, Steve?
It's frozen in time.
I think Steve shut himself off.
Low battery.
Come back to us, Steve.
You're muted.
Says my internet is unstable. Maybe that's why I kept getting kicked off of my previous meeting. Anyway, can you guys
We can hear you.
can you see the warrant?
Yep.
Okay, let me zoom in on this a little bit. Wow. So we've got an invoice for Vertex Corporation for the Senior Center, $4,646.25. We've got LLB Architects for the Senior Center, $106,000.
It's 13,
Oh, that's
Steve.
the balance. I'm sorry. Vertex Corporation, $4,646.25. LLB Architects, $13,092.27. And GGD Consulting for the solar panel engineering for the library, $750 for a total of $18,488.52. Any discussion?
Seemed okay to me.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Armley, yes.
Mike?
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy, yes.
And Brian?
Brian Pasquale, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. Okay, back to the agenda. Approve the meeting minutes of 11:15. Did I send out the amended meetings minutes today? I can't remember.
I saw it via email.
Okay, so the only part that I amended quite a bit was the discussion on the solar panels and the generator for the senior center, because it was way too wordy. So I just kind of cleaned that up a little bit. So is there any discussion? Does anyone want to look at that before we approve it?
I'm all set with it, Steve.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 15th?
I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes for the November 15th meeting.
As amended?
As amended, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Armley, yes.
Mike?
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Stacy?
Stacy Damaris, yes.
And Brian?
Brian Pasquale, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. Great. Shaker Lane feasibility study. We just had a meeting with Chuck Adam, who's on the call, and his team. So they went through the schedule and the next steps. And Stacy, do you want to speak any more on that?
Yeah, I don't know how in how much detail we would want to kind of clue in the committee, but maybe just giving kind of just the basic idea of what our next two steps were and just a time frame for what we're looking at for that. Does that make sense?
Yep, I think so.
Okay. So we just had this meeting, so I'm gonna just kind of refer to Turner Townsend Healy notes. So our next step right now, so we're not at the feasibility study just yet. We've just selected our OPM, which was Turner Townsend Healy. And our next step right now is going to be to select our design team with them. So right now they are working on preparing a draft request for services, which then, from what I understand, then we have to have those submitted, reviewed for approval, and then we have to have that in a local newspaper to get contractors to be hired to submit. After those proposals get looked through, TTH then reviews, looks through all the references, and then we have a subcommittee which we need to determine, which then determines the top three design companies to go with. That all has to kind of be approved by the MSBA as well. And then once that all gets approved, then we can go to, it also has to get approved by the school committee, excuse me. Once that all gets approved, then we'll be able to start the feasibility study. So, just to go back to pick out the design team, TTH estimated about 70 days for that to happen. So about two months. So after we get that all done, then we'll start the feasibility study, which is obviously going to be a longer process. So that's going to be about 9 to 12 months. Well, 9 months, 6 to 9 months, excuse me. So we go over the existing conditions of the current school. Then we do some visioning sessions. We start to work with the community, start to work with the school staff and figuring out kind of what the requirements are for the new building. And then we end up getting a preliminary design program submission, which has to be, again, approved by MSBA, approved by the town, and then we can move on to the next step, which is further down the road. So I won't go into too much detail with that. But that was my basic understanding of kind of the meeting that we just had for our next steps for the building committee.
Yeah, that's great, Stacy. Thanks. One of the things that came out of the meeting was that the selection committee for the designer is made up of 15 members. 3 of the members come from the town. I suspect at least one will be from the PMBC, maybe one from the school board, or 2 from the school board. I'm not quite sure what the composition of that is, but you may want to start to think about, and I'm looking at you, Bartlett, if anyone is interested in being a member of that selection committee. No commitments tonight, but something to think about.
I'm already planning on being on it, but I would be representing school committee. Is that correct? I can't represent both school committee and PMBC.
I would defer to Chuck Adam on that. Chuck, can you opine?
Yeah, hi, good night. Good evening. Yeah, it has to be 3 distinct people from 3 different committees or 3 different entities within the town.
Yep.
Okay.
So it would probably be Ryan, school committee, and PMBC.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But it depends on you. It's really up to how the town wants to handle it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's kind of the makeup. So if anyone is interested, Bartley, please let us know.
Steve, how many members did you say there was going to be on the committee?
15.
The vote. That's the vote. So there's 3 people that have to be selected to basically cast a vote. Out of the 15 will be from Littleton.
From Littleton.
And then there'll be a separate committee as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 15 is at the MSBA.
Yeah.
That is on their selection panel, and 3 of those 15 are from the town.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions for Chuck or comments on the feasibility study? Hearing none, we will, Chuck, thanks for joining in. You're certainly welcome to stay. But we're going to proceed with the agenda. Library update, Brian Fors is not with us, so I'm assuming that we're pretty close to wrapping all that up. I haven't heard anything more on the
We haven't heard anything back, Steve, on the sewage problem
well,
that they had.
I haven't heard a thing, no.
So maybe no news is good news.
Yeah, I hope so. Littleton High School, Brian, any update?
Nothing positive, unfortunately. We're still waiting for that last component from Rockwell, which apparently still hasn't arrived. Their last update as of yesterday was that they're still waiting for this penetration box to make their temporary pipe penetrations permanent, which was originally supposed to be delivered first over the summer and then in October. Now the latest update is the vendor says that they'll have it before Christmas. So we'll see. They said they're ready to mobilize and do the work as soon as they get it. So we'll keep on them.
Okay, appreciate that. Senior Center.
Hold on, can I just ask a question real quick about that?
Go ahead.
Just as we're going through the process of getting new designers and architects and new contractors for these other buildings, this is, what was it, Rockwell Roofing? Okay.
Yep.
So I assume maybe perhaps they get involved in other contracts. So I was actually just wondering, do we have any documentation as to like when these supplies were actually like ordered? Like, do we have something solid to know that this isn't something they just kind of keep dropping the ball on and then just kind of punting through a supply chain problem?
They did that to a certain extent. These things should have been ordered. I think their contract was executed in like May, and we pushed them originally in the beginning to release any long lead material items, and they assured us everything was fine and ready to go.
Yeah.
And as they were getting close to needing this, we found out in late July that they were just getting around to ordering it. So
the PMs,
yeah, it was a drop of the ball by their PM, and then compounded by these issues. So,
all right, I was just curious. Thank
yeah,
you.
no, it's a good question. If they were proactive about it, we could have had it months ago.
Yeah, because lead times have improved for roofing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking.
Didn't they put a sub bid in for the senior center? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I thought Brian Fors said that they were one of the bidders.
I think that's correct, Bob.
Just
I have it's worth noting. I mean, this is frustrating, but I have used these guys in my day job, and I've not had any of these issues with them. So, not making excuses by any means. It's certainly frustrating, but I don't think this is their typical MO.
Yeah, it depends on who you get. I've had
Exactly.
one company, they've been terrible on multiple projects, and then you get them on another one, they're great.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on the roof?
Other than that, I mean, we're just obviously I'm not processing any billings until we get this resolved, Steve. So we're still holding money on them, so it's not like they're paid. They have some incentive to finish up.
Yeah, understood. Okay, senior center update. I don't have any new information. I didn't get an update from Brian today. Bob, do you have anything?
no, I haven't talked to him either.
No. Okay. Well, we'll skip over that and go to Indian Hill. Brian Ferrara, the interim town manager, has requested that Mike and I be part of a selection committee for the OPM for Indian Hill. I guess we have to vote on that. It would be Brian, myself, and Mike. Any discussion on that?
If you guys got the free time, go ahead and do it.
You know, it's not like we don't have enough to do already.
I'll be in Florida.
I volunteer
I
for
know.
too much anyway, so.
So is there a motion to approve Brian and myself, or Mike and myself to be on the selection committee for the Indian Hill?
I'll make a
So
motion.
moved. Okay.
I'll second that. Yep.
Okay, roll call vote. Bob,
Bob Romley, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scudetto, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Stacy,
You're muted, Stacy.
States Damaris, yes.
thanks, Stacy. Brian,
Brian Pasquale, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. That brings us down to member input. Anything, Bob?
I'm all set.
Mike?
I'm good.
Bartlett?
I'm fine, thanks.
So you're gonna be thinking about that though, right, Bartlett?
Yeah, that's yeah, I am. That's gonna go through the summer. It's gonna screw everything up for me, but
Well, you know, it's your choice, you know, no pressure.
Okay, good designer, and let's get to the GC phase. That's my favorite part. I have strong opinions there.
Brian,
I'm all set. Thanks, Steve.
Stacy? I'm all set. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
We adjourn.
Okay, don't rush to the microphone. All in favor? Bob,
Bob Romley, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scudetto, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Brian,
Brian Pasquale, yes.
and Stacy.
States Damaris, yes.
Steve,
And Steve Moore, yes?
you got the next meeting to be announced?
To be determined, because
To
the
be
next,
determined.
yeah, the next one is.
Would it be the 27th?
Yeah, I don't know. Are people going to be off that week, or should we schedule for the 27th? Is there anything urgent that we need to talk about?
I'm fine either way, Steve. I can meet if we need to.
Same here.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll put an agenda together, and then we can kind of determine if we want to meet or not.
Is this the December 27th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd prefer not to, but as long as you guys have a quorum, I'm good. Not.
You know what? We'll see if there's anything urgent comes up. If you don't, I'll notify the committee one way or the other. If there's nothing urgent, we'll just meet in January.
Steve, the only thing I'd worry about is if we had some money items that we had to approve so that they could get paid.
Well, they typically come in monthly, and we just approved this month's batch. Unless there's something, you know, big that comes in, I agree with you. So, all right. Well, thanks for your
Okay.
participation.
Thank
Have
you.
a great evening, and Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone.